Yes, start.
Hi everyone, welcome to another session of Legal Desire Knowledge series. Today's session will be on on exploring the scopes of arbitration, ADR in general actually. So today with us we have Dr. Alok Verma. He is the professor of law in Amity University. He possesses a vast experience of teaching the postgrad students as well as the undergrad students. He has been invited many times for expert talk on ADR issues by various government as well as non-government institutions in India. His area of research is ADR system, including the international commercial arbitration and also the international taxation. He has also experience of working in corporate sector and legal industry. He is in the editorial board as well as the advisory board of various national and international journals in repute. Today, we have Sir with us discussing the aspects, the scope of ADR. So, thank you so much, Sir, for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you, Apurva, and thank you, Legal Desire, for calling me once again on this platform. And in this pandemic situation, I welcome all the participants who are sparing their time to, discuss with this very important aspect, which is very essential nowadays. So, without wasting the time of my participant, I would try to share my screen. I think you have disabled participant screen sharing. How can I
So
share?
try now.
Okay. Yes. It's working now. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this pandemic situation, a very fantastic topic has been selected by Legal Desire, and for the benefit of all the law students, whether the intern of Legal Desire, that exploring the scope of ADR in India. So today we will discuss about this the different kind of scope, different kind of possibilities which are available in the area of ADR. So before that, I start my presentation. I would like to tell you that I have chosen this background. Is it background available, visible to all? These clouds are coming out. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these clouds are actually the danger which is coming all around because of this pandemic situation, and everybody knows that this COVID-19 or the coronavirus virus has been declared as a pandemic on March 11. So a big problem arises because of this pandemic situation, and that was what was the pandemic breaking news during these days is the coronavirus everywhere. Everybody is talking about the corona. So we were totally in apprehension what will happen to our future. We are in apprehension what will happen to our business or whatever the activity we are doing. So the biggest problem which is arising, which is happening right now, is the lockdowns which is declared after this pandemic situation, and the financial slowdown which is roaming around across the country as well as across the world in all the sectors. So this is the biggest situation or biggest the problem by which uh, even it's a negative part, but we have to think about the positive part also of this situation, and that's why we chosen the exploration of some scope in ADR in India. So if I move ahead, and you will find that what are the problems we are discussing here, we are going to discuss. We are talking about the discuss, and I have tried to create this corona in the problems. So what kind of problem we are discussing, because it's creating it's providing us it's hanging us into the different dilemma of different problems. But ultimately that is a positive side which we'll deal later on also. So the biggest problem in this situation is the contractual relationship and its non-performance. Because if you see on the screen, I have certain figured out certain different contractual problems which can arise during these problem during the era of COVID-19. Like first of all, we can say that landlord and tenant, and you see that lots of migrants are moving around, and if they have to leave their working place, they are moving towards their hometown. So and it is not necessary that if you are living in a place and you are a landlord, you most of the people are the tenant. So in this situation, definitely there is a rent agreement if you have signed, or some implied agreement between you and your landlord. Then definitely non-performance of that because of the rent or some other issues, which might be the first issue which we creating the problems. The second one is the business owners. The lots of business owners are in the problem, like might be a B2B or B2C, business to business or business to customer, or a small big business players to the small business players. They are all in the tangling condition. What will happen to my business, whether if I'm owner of the perishable items, then what will happen to my items which are perishable. And recently I seen a very interesting video where that was viral regarding this pandemic and the situation which is the different business owners are facing. That one barber, when he opened his shop after the lockdown, when the leniency was declared during that area, so he found a lots of snakes were roaming around in his shop. So such kind of problems definitely are coming in between for the business owners. Then the next one for you guys, the students, that the education system. So lots of students are in a tangling situation. Lots of students are in they are thinking that our future is in danger because of this pandemic situation. So because what will happen to our fee, whatever I've deposited the fee or the different amounts to the educational institutions. Similarly, next, contractual relation and non-performance problem arises in e-commerce. Suppose you ordered something before the pandemic or lockdown situation, and thereafter the lockdown is declared. Then what will happen to your those delivery of the supply of the goods, or in between? Even nowadays, if you are ordering something, then whether you are getting on time or not. So these are certain issues which are coming from the business owners of e-commerce as well as the customers of e-commerce side. Then next one is the seller and the buyer. Suppose all the sellers who have sold their items before the pandemic or before this lockdown period, and now they are just suddenly this lockdown declared and their items stuck in between the traveling area, and truck drivers are also in the problem, and transporters are in the problem. Then again the buyer is waiting for the item which still has not been delivered to his place. And the next important aspect, that problem which may arise in between, that the employment, and it is the biggest problem which the most of the people are facing. And you have heard this news on your different TV channels. Then in America, at least lakhs of people has lost their job, and the same thing is happening in India also. So this is the problem, and there are lots of problems. So ultimately these are the negative side of this pandemic situation. But the exploring whatever the if we are coming to a back coming back to our topic, we are searching the exploration, we are exploring the some scope of ADR, some positive aspects of ADR in the coming future of our legal interns or students of law. So definitely we have to think some positive sides also. So before discussing those positive sides, I would move further. And before that, I used one term in my last slide, that was the force measure. So I use this term force measure, and the Delhi High Court also discussed in Ramanand and others versus Dr. Grace Soni and another, and set out the parameters to be considered while dealing with request for waiver or suspension of rent. Actually, in relation to the landlord and tenant contractual relationship and non-performance of that contract or rent agreement. Delhi High Court recently, that is a very recent judgment, and in this judgment, Delhi High Court used the term force majeure event. So what is the force majeure? The next important aspect is the concept of force majeure. For this, I would suggest all the law students to read the section 56 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, which is very essential. And what does it mean actually? What is the actual meaning of this thing? So if I have taken from Black's Law Dictionary, where it is clearly defined that whereby force majeure had been defined as an event or a fact that can be neither anticipated nor controlled. So this pandemic or this COVID-19 is never anticipated nor controlled, and it includes both acts of nature, for example, floods and hurricanes, and together with this also, the COVID-19 is also a part of this thing. It is also declared by the Supreme Court in different cases. And act of people also, that riots like riots and strikes and wars. So this is the concept of force majeure, which is working right now a lot and which is disturbing a lot to the different contracts which has been signed. Together with another issue is coming in between, and this kind of situation now you are seeing all around, and you are reading the newspaper, and this picture will depict that what is going to happen in the future when everything will be normal. Then definitely some kind of frustration is, you will find all around. So for the frustration, we have another doctrine of frustration, for which again you have to read section 56 of the Indian Contract Act. So the meaning, what is the meaning of this frustration? Frustration, some kind of uneasiness, but in a contract law, frustration, and is a doctrine, it has been discussed, act as a device to set aside contracts where an unforeseen event like this COVID-19, that's why it's coming in, it has been included in the doctrine of frustration, even either renders contractual obligations impossible. So definitely in most of the cases, suppose you one person, out of one party, out of two parties, one party, suffers a lot because of this pandemic situation. So definitely it becomes impossible or radically changes the party's principal purpose for entering into the contract. So definitely these things are happening. And recently we have heard this news that most of companies had cancelled their contract with the other companies because of this situation. So this doctrine of frustration is also going to work in this situation, but it is also, if we take it as a positive side, it is also taking, some improvement or some kind of exploration in terms of ADR for our legal interns and the person who is going to enter into the legal field. So if I move further, yeah, just read these things, and these dates are very important. So on February 17, 2020, which is beginning of the 2020, the China, because this everything which is we are suffering from happened in the China, and it originated in China. So China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, that is CCPIT, revealed that it had already issued over 1,600 force majeure certificates. Force majeure we have already discussed in earlier slides. Two firms in 30 sectors covering contracts worth over $15 billion. So it's a big, huge, money which dumped because of these force majeure certificates. Second one is which is relating to the India, that on February 19, 2020, that is also a very, know, uh, uh, latest one, the Department of Expenditure Procurement Policy Division, Ministry of Finance, issued an office memorandum with respect to the Manual for Procurement of Goods 2017. So procurement of goods is also relating to your business, which serve as the dictum for procurement by the government of India. And the next one is this memorandum, which in sense states that the COVID-19 could effectively be covered under the force majeure. So it is also in memorandum declared that this COVID-19 is a part, should be the part of this force majeure clause, because it is a natural calamity, which is the definition of Black Law Dictionary, which is already defined that what is the meaning of this force majeure, and all the departments who should invoke it by following the due process. But it is also mentioned that due process should be followed while you are, revealing any contract, or you are just performing any contract in terms of force majeure. So these three figures definitely direct us, or definitely points out that lots of situations or possibilities are arising. So that's why the possibilities I'm talking about here, what kind of possibilities are arising. in future for our legal fraternity or the interns or the law students who are coming into the legal field. So now look at this figure. So definitely all these things will create lots of dispute. Then definitely you have to everybody is roaming around for the negotiation or the compromise or the agreement. Ultimately, or your ultimate option is the resolve. So how to resolve these situations. So these are the possibilities for which I'm just exploring in further coming slides. So after these possibilities, now everybody who is suffering from something regarding the non-performance is in a confusing state or the tangling state. What are these confusing states? Number one, that whether should I go for the litigation, or second one is the ADR. So if you want to go to the litigation, no issue, but most of the people doesn't have the time, doesn't have the money, so they want something which is alternatively to resolve the dispute. And I think I would suggest that the ADR is the best option for this thing. So moving ahead, ultimate option comes out, and your work as a legal intern or your work as a legal advocate or a legal fraternity, or you are an expert, you will find lots of work here. And definitely you are there for the settlement, and you people are waiting for you for the settlement who definitely wants to move towards the ADR system. So this is the exploration which we are covering and which we are moving towards the scope of ADR in India, exploring this thing. But moving further, uh, what kind of exploration I have decided, I have searched out. So next slide will tell you that we are talking about the ADR. We are not talking about the litigation. So if we enter into the ADR, then for my students, let me tell you that what kind of ADR systems are available. So ADR includes negotiation, ADR includes mediation, ADR includes conciliation, ADR includes ombudsman, ADR includes arbitration and tribunal. These are the different dimensions of the ADR which are available to you. You can be an expert of these areas. And so after becoming into this, if you suppose you enter into any ADR, so after this, right now, a new idea is also floating around. New idea is floating around, and this new idea is all about recently, if you read this news, former Chief Justice of India, Deepak Misra, has said that the judicial system must turn the challenge posed by the corona pandemic into an opportunity by using innovations and technology to explore virtual online alternate dispute resolution mechanism. So this is the recent news in which ex-Chief Justice also, emphasized over the ODR system during this pandemic situation. So it is in challenging times as these that we can make innovations and use technology as a transformational tool. So he is also pointing out towards the, making innovations and using technology for dispute resolution. And he also emphasized that the exploration of the virtual ADR, that is we call EADR or ODADR mechanism, with the consent of the parties, which is essential, although physical hearing can never be completely dispensed with. So he is also emphasizing in a new idea which is floating around and which is coming as a new coming as a new dimensions in the dispute resolution system. So after this is the new idea which we are talking about. Just a minute. Another news is coming, which is floated by the this gentleman, which is you can see in the picture. The virtual courts must be married to physical courts to improve justice delivery system, which is emphasized by the Mukul Rohtabari regarding, and he's also emphasizing over the live stream of the proceeding of the virtual courts and expressing optimism over the switch to virtual courts during the lockdown and the pandemic situation. So these are the new ideas which are floating around. So after this, a question can be arise, what is ODR? So if this is a way to settle disputes outside the courts, combining tech and alternative dispute resolution mechanism. So why it is useful? Because it can ease pressure on the courts. And several pendencies and several problems are there. And this is, supported by the National Judicial Data Grid, Law Commission reports somewhere. And if we discuss about the importance and the advantage of ODR, so you can say that the development and availability of internet technology is very much this is the first advantage. Then second, that it allows for the resolution of disputes via online mechanism that allow for virtual communications without requiring the parties to be in a room together. Then third one is this makes the proceedings flexible and geographically independent of location of the parties and hence increases the efficiency of the process. And the last one is that ODR also allows the parties to have transparent and always accessible record keeping. So if you are at home, ODR system will definitely help you. And this EADR or ODR is the next big thing for you guys. It is waiting for you. You can choose this option and you can make your careers secure by using this. And next one is that this is also the opinion of the different authorities that adoption of ADR mechanism is the need of the hour. The Indian judicial system can be saved from a breakdown if it adopts the available ADR system of settlement than the traditional litigation process, because a number of pendency and number of situations are arising because of these situations, because of this problem. And the most important part of the ADR method, which you see that it controlled the total control vested in the parties. So here you can see that if you are in unassisted negotiation part, that is a you can took it apart, and which we use in the day-to-day life, that is the unassisted negotiation. But if we enter into the facilitation, partnering, or mediation or arbitration, then definitely if you read the total parent act, you will find that the control is always vested in the parties. So this is the most important part for the ADR methods, which is somehow creating lots of possibilities in the area of ADR. So next idea is the mediation, because ADR also covers the mediation. So for there are certain statements which are advocating mediation, like mediation friendly country. Our country is a mediation friendly country, and which we are seeing since last time immemorial. Then amicable resolution of dispute has been the hallmark of civilization, and these are the statement of different Supreme Court and High Court advocates. Inherent Indian spirit of peaceful dispute settlement is also the statement which is somehow supporting this thing. So again, if you read the AFCON case, that is a very landmark case in the case of ADR, and which is also very popular, and it's a case of 2010, which also says that the Honorable Supreme Court observed as follows, that case where the questions are complicated or cases which may require several rounds of negotiation, the court may refer the matter to mediation. So in this case, AFCON's case, the court is also emphasizing over the different importance of ADR. Then if you read the 238th Law Commission report, which also advocated for the same changes as were specified in the AFCON cases. So these two are the somehow we can say supporting authority for the ADR, and it's we can say a lots of scope in the ADR system which is supported by these authorities. So if we move further, there are certain legislative enactments also which are referring the cases to ADR, and they are especially focusing that the cases should be referred to the ADR system or settlement process. So you can see that the section 30 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 96 is there. Section 4 of Industrial Dispute Act is there. Settlement under different CPC provisions of CPCs are there. Various provisions of the National Legal Service Authority Act is there. Various provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act is there, or Special Marriage Act is there, and settlement under proceedings under the Family Court Act is also there. So ultimately, after looking all these possible areas, we explored a lots of scope in ADR in India, and we can say that definitely ADR is going to be the next big thing, and ADR is going to be after this 2019 Amendment Act. ADR is going to be a big challengeable item or big, which a particular area or platform, which definitely will give a lots of platform to the legal interns or the persons who are working in the legal field. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for informative session. Sir, we have some questions from our YouTube live. So, sir, first question is from Viral Vanushali. Please
Yes, yes.
enlighten with the procedure in arbitration.
Okay, so procedure, it's very simple. That first of all, it's a Y-like structure, the letter of Y in English, the alphabet. So if you enter into the litigation, then definitely you have been given as per the CPC that you, if you your case falls under the category which can be covered through the ADR system, then definitely you will enter into the ADR process, and then your matter will be covered by the arbitration. Or if you think that your matter should be placed in the Lok Adalat, if it is feasible for the Lok Adalat, then your matter can be placed in the Lok Adalat, and then you are very clear. And recent Lok Adalat is going. Even I missed this Lok Adalat system in ADR, but in coming time, Lok Adalat is going to be another big process of this ADR system, because Lok Adalat generally happens on the weekends or the Sunday. And in the coming week, we are going to experience in the coming time that lots of check bouncing cases are going to be happen, or the cases relating to the Motor Vehicle Act is going to be happen. So these kind of PD cases can be referred to the Lok Adalat system. So it's a very easy process. You can easily adopt it.
Sir, next question is from Anand. He says about like how to decrease the expenditure and the in the arbitration process, because it is also costly.
Yes, yes, yes. So actually, initially when Arbitration Act was incorporated in 1940, then 1996, so this expenditure process, or there's lots of expenditures problem was there. But if you read the 2019 Act, and if you read the different amendment in 2019, and definitely which the method which I suggested through the EADR, by which is also being supported by the different legal authorities. So by using EADR system, by sitting at home, parties are nothing to do, parties need nowhere to go. And recently High Court, Delhi High Court has also emphasized over the sending of documents on mail and different electronic version. So these things can definitely save your money.
Okay, sir, one question how law student can make career in this area. So what are the steps that they need to follow?
Sorry, repeat the question.
How law student can make career in area, and what are the
Okay.
steps they need to follow?
Okay, so nowadays actually UGC and the Bar Council is also emphasized over the clinical courses. So ADR has been shifted from theory courses to clinical courses. So if you find a good law professor in your classroom, they are providing the simulation exercise in the classroom regarding the negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. Then I must suggest all the law students that you take parts into the different competition which are relating to the, like moot court or MADAR competition, which are relating to the arbitration. Then you take the ground level knowledge of this arbitration, then you enter into the legal practice and adopt this field, and definitely you will you will get the success and excel into this field.
Thank you, sir. So that's it for the YouTube live. Now we'll interact with our interns. Thank you all who are watching us on YouTube.